Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. May we all stand in attention and sing the national anthem. Thank you very much. You may take your seats.
Thank you. May I invite Madam Makwenzi to give us an opening prayer.
Let us bow our hands and pray. Our Heavenly Father, who art in heaven, you are gathered, Jehovah, to deliberate upon the issues that concern your people that you created with your own image. We thank you, Lord, for the gift of life, the gift of knowledge and wisdom that you are giving to your people. We pray for our leaders that, Lord, continue enriching them with all the wisdom and knowledge so as to take and fulfill your wish, the Garden of Eden. Jehovah, we submit to you. Now we're here, we ask for peace, we ask for understanding, so that at the end of the day, we are harmonized and we attain our goal. Let's all say, in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Thank you. Our guest of honor, here we are, Second International Traditional Grains Conference, theme, empowering value chains through innovation, mechanization, policy, and culture. Thank you. Right, let me quickly do introductions. I'll start, now we're at the value chain issues. I'll start with the actual game changers, farmers. farmers from Rwanda, from Mad South, farmers from Mad South, Paramanent Silibone, farmers from Mad South. Thank you so much. Using Mr. Nare, he benefited from land reform, is now a 16-ton producer of commercial sorghum, specifically SV4. So I think Ecosite SV4 is key. Thank you. Thank you, Bwana. Then farmers from Martinot. Farmers from Martinot. These are farmers from Cholocho. They lead what we call farmers' hubs. They've graduated from farmer field schools into business entities. So each farmer represents a hub in Cholocho. They are the traditional grains producers. They are doing wonders. They managed to buy their uniform. Thank you so much. The majority are women because traditional grains needs those people with endurance. Thank you so much. Thank you. Then we have chairleft Farmers in Daba. Where are you? Farmers in Daba? Yes, thank you. Right, we have Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development staff from Mad South, mechanization, others, Matoko Research. Okay, thank you so much. Yes. Then we have from Martinot. Unfortunately, today we have got 2 competing events. We are also launching the Fumbutsa. The Minister of State is in Mkuza with quite a number of the others, the members. Then staff members from Ministry of Agriculture, Martinot. I saw the engineer. Yes. We have our agronomist, Madam Zeti Dobu. We have our engineer, Mr. O. Mashir. Thank you very much. Then Ecosite staff led by Dr. Martin Moyo. Today here represented by Dr. A. Zindi. Ecosite. Okay, thank you. But my top research is CPI. Yes, we have Mr. Dube. We have Madam Kondo. She's the lady in charge in terms of seed production and certification. Thank you so much. Then we have staff members, the PTs. We invited the 4 provinces. We have Mati South, we have Migrants, we have Maswingo, we have Smart Node. Yes, PTs. Right, we have Madam Mapangeni from Migrants, we have the only white man from Maswingo, Mr. Makiwa. Then we have Madam Nzila from Mad South, representing the director for Mad South. Thank you. Then we have directors from Harare. Directors from Harare Ministry. Yes. And deputy directors. We have met the Makuku. She's leading the crop. Today she's here because we are respecting the agro-tailoring aspect. Then we have met them Nongonema, her voice, when she starts doing that, during the news time, talking farming. Then we have the city represented by Mr. Chamisa, Director Livestock. They need this to feed their livestock. Then we have Director, yes, specifically for crop production. Then we have, I usually call him my politician. Why? Today he's wearing khakis like me, I don't know why. He's our Director of Rural Development. When we talk rural development, we want to see Vision 2030 in reality. Not seeing people driving nice cars, but seeing a change in terms of disposable income. Thank you so much. Then we have our partners, seat houses, and also the others. Seat houses, for some of them, they are busy there. Yes, I did mention that the only missing seat house is the agri-seeds, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have GMB staff. GMB, this year we are giving you 10 kgs. Next season we are giving you 50 kgs. Led by Dr. Batarai, the CEO. Thank you so much. Let me head over to Dr. Erin Mube to the Zimpapers staff.
Thank you, MK. Good morning once more, ladies and gentlemen. As you are aware, this important occasion has been curated and brought to you by Zimpapers and ICRISAT. The lead of this occasion or of this initiative is the Sunday News, our leading weekly newspaper here in Bulawayo, which is part of the Zimpapers table. So I am not going to waste time in introducing everyone from Zimpapers, but let me move straight and invite the editor of the Sunday News, Hatred Zenenga, to come forward and give us the objectives of this conference, as well as do the welcome remarks on behalf of the Zimpapers senior management. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, when you were touring the stands outside, I was reminded of my time when I was growing up. I used to stay at Saga station. So I asked it, how come this name, what does it represent? And so I was told that when it was set up, the whites who were setting it up wanted a Shona name and asked it, what is it called when you say search? And they were told that it's Kuchaga. And so they spelled the name and said it's Saga. Quite interesting. Yeah. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests. I feel very honored that we are graced here by the Honorable Minister and His Excellency the Ambassador, and also a representative from the Provincial Minister's Office. It is with great pleasure and a profound sense of purpose that I welcome you all to the second International Traditional Grains Conference here in beautiful Bulawayo. We are honored to have such distinguished individuals among us today, including our guest of honor, the Honorable Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Professor Masuka. We also honored to have His Excellency, the Indian Ambassador to Zimbabwe, His Excellency, Mr. Brahma Kuma. The conference has expanded significantly since its inaugural edition, thanks to the dedication of our partners and stakeholders. We are proud to see the representation of international participants this year, reflecting a shared commitment to the crucial themes we aim to tackle. Today we gather not just as individuals, but as a collective, engaged in a pressing dialogue about the future of our agricultural sector, particularly concerning traditional grains. These crops are not only foundational to our food and nutritional security, but also hold immense potential in addressing the urgent challenges posed by climate change. Traditional grains such as sorghum, millet, and other indigenous crops are integral to the diets of many Zimbabweans and play a pivotal role in our agricultural landscape. They offer resilience against shifting climate patterns and provide the nutritional status of our population. However, unlocking their full potential requires a transformative approach across the entire value chain, from production to marketing and consumer acceptance. The second International Traditional Grains Conference serves as a vital platform for us to discuss innovative approaches that can help overcome existing barriers hindering the growth of the traditional grains value chain. Together, we will identify challenges and co-create strategies that can enhance the productivity, marketability, and resilience of these crops. Our main objective for this conference is to promote and upscale traditional grains as essential food, feed, and nutrition sources for Zimbabwe. To achieve this, we have set forth several key objectives that will guide our discussions and activities throughout the event. One of them, strengthening the value chains. We aim to explore avenues for strengthening traditional grains value chains through innovation, mechanization, and enhancing private sector investment. This is crucial for increasing productivity and ensuring sustainable livelihoods for our farmers. Policy and regulatory frameworks. We strive to contribute to policy and regulatory frameworks that create an enabling environment for traditional grains, ensuring that our agricultural sector can thrive in the face of both local and global challenges. Scientific advances. This conference will showcase significant scientific advances in breeding, agronomy, mechanization, and the development of climate-resilient varieties. Sharing this knowledge is crucial for nurturing the next generation of the agricultural practices that can withstand climate variability. Promoting cultural values. We also recognize the importance of cultural identity and heritage associated with traditional grains. By promoting cultural drivers and effective branding, we hope to enhance the market appeal and consumer adoption of these crops. In addition, we will take time to identify the main barriers that have hindered the growth of traditional grains by embracing cross-national and international business opportunities. We aim to unlock the vast potential that traditional grains hold for securing our food and nutritional needs. Throughout this conference, we will foster discussions on how scale-appropriate mechanization can drive the traditional grains value chain, particularly improving access for smallholder farmers. Additionally, we will delve into socio-economic factors such as culture, nutrition, and heritage to discover how these elements can empower us to embrace traditional grains more fully. Ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you all to engage actively in the sessions, share your insights, and collaborate with one another as we navigate these vital discussions. Your participation is crucial in shaping the future of the traditional grains sector in Zimbabwe. As we move forward together, let us be guided by our shared commitment to resilience, inclusivity, and sustainable growth. Together, we can harness the power of traditional grains to not only enhance food security, but also to build a thriving agricultural ecosystem that honors our cultural heritage. Thank you for being here today. Together, let us pave the way for a more resilient and prosperous agricultural future for Zimbabwe. Thank you very much. Siyabonga.
Thank you so much. Right, we have got our sponsors, the city houses, Citco, Valley Seed, all those who did the exhibit, including CIMIT, Inside, they sponsored this conference, and also Ministry of Agriculture, they did sponsor to make this thing a reality. Thank you so much. Let me invite our Honorable Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Bulawayo Metropolitan Province, Honorable J. Ngube, here represented by Madam G. Zisho. Over to you, Madam.
Thank you, Mr. Ndogo. Good morning to you all. As already been said, I'm representing the minister who can't be with us today. Allow me to recognize the presence of the Minister of Land, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Professor Masuka. His Excellency Ambassador of India, Mr. Brahma Kama, senior civil servants, conference partners, our seed houses, industry executives, Zimpapers group and other members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to welcome you all to Bulawayo to the second International Traditional Grains Conference. This gathering is dedicated to safeguarding our agricultural heritage, shaping the future of Zimbabwe's food systems. Your presence reflects our shared commitment to strengthening the role of traditional grains in national development. Let me applaud the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development for its consistent efforts towards national food security under the able leadership of Honorable Professor Masuka. My appreciation also goes to Zimpapers Group for organizing this important platform for open dialogue on agricultural transformation. May I also take this opportunity to welcome His Excellency India Ambassador Mr. Brahma Kama to this beautiful city of Bulawayo, and thank you for taking your time to be with us today. This year's theme, Empowering Value Chains through Innovation, Mechanization, Policy and Culture, speaks to the central role traditional grains play in cultural identity, food security, climate resilience and economic empowerment. This conference offers a strategic space for policymakers, researchers, private sector actors, and farming communities to collaborate, share knowledge, and develop practical solutions for resilient value chains. As we embrace innovation and modern technologies, we must also ensure inclusivity in empowering women and youth by preserving the cultural significance of our traditional crops. In conclusion, the conversations we begin today will shape the future of our agricultural landscape. I encourage you all to engage actively, exchange experiences, and build partnerships that will elevate traditional grains as a cornerstone of Zimbabwe's food security and economic stability. I thank you, Siyabonga Tatende.
Siyabonga, thank you so much. Right, before I invite Zimpapers, our guest of honor, I want to show you people who were not sleeping, people who were working extraordinary hard to make this thing a success. Let me invite, where is she? Hilda. I know she doesn't want to come up front. Where are you? And also Dr. Lemugan, and also Dr. Cindy, and also Dr. Mjay from Eagleside and Zimpapers. Where are you? Yes, I think it's wise to come up front here. Then we don't have to do what viewing and say, she was excellent. Want to bless you now. Come, doctor. Yes, and where is Mjay? And where? Right. I never thought women can command men and run. That's what we really experienced. And he was ever quiet, but afterwards you will be saying, where are we? Dr. Martin is not there, but he was part of the team. Chikoni, where is he? Chikoni from the side. Chikoni, are you there? Yes. Come. She's scared. We don't want to say, this person was doing wonders when the person is just inside the coffin. It's very unfair. I used to be afraid of the news people, but now I'm realizing these ones are very key in driving innovations and also a lot of things. They have the brains, they have the art of coining and producing documents, concept notes. These are the people, our guest of honor, who worked extremely hard, and they were making MK to jump here and there. Yes, you know how our ministry is demanding, but I was respecting their call and 100% commit myself in terms of providing what they wanted from me. I thank them. We have managed to do it. Thank you so much. The chief secretary is this one, Madam Hilda. She is quiet. She appears quiet, but very, very harsh when things are not in order. Thank you so much, team. May I invite our Chief Director, Madam Makwezi, to introduce to us His Excellency the Ambassador to India.
Honorable Minister, the Ambassador of India, here we're happy to be having Brahma Kumar, who is a link to Zimbabwe. We know him being involved so much in agriculture, promoting business, and also welcoming high-level Indian business delegation to explore opportunities in various sectors. And we've also noted that you've been so much linked in opportunities and initiatives, innovations to do with women in Zimbabwe. We really appreciate that. And we note that you are covering widely, but we want to zero into agriculture. We've seen your promotion into it, and today you are here to promote. I would love to call upon our Ambassador of India, His Excellency, Mr. Brahma Kumar, to take up the podium. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all of you. Honorable Dr. Rajya Master, Minister for Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development. Honorable Judith Nipuge, Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Bulawayo Metropolitan Province, represented by Ms. Gio. Zimpapers team, beside tea, senior government officials, farmers, sponsors, and with the protocol observed. Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. We all know the size of India and the population of India. So accordingly, the size of agriculture and agricultural landscape is also very vast, which is dispersed in various geographical and climate zones. For a person like me, it may be very difficult to give a comprehensive picture of changing landscape of evolving value chains, traditional grain markets, and mechanization and use of technology. However, as a diplomat, I will take some of the salient features of the topic and transformative approach being adopted by Indian agriculture sector, which will be relevant for Zimbabwean agriculture, and it may pave a way for future bilateral interactions between our experts with an aim to open new areas of bilateral commercial interactions in this sector. My remarks are based on some of the Government of India reports and the private sector analysis which are available at open sources as well. Dear friends, agriculture is one of the cornerstones of Indian economy and society, providing a livelihood to nearly 55% of the population. With the world's second largest agricultural land area, India is a global leader in farm output. The country has the largest cattle herd, the largest area under wheat, rice and cotton, and ranks as the world's top producer of milk, lentils and spices. It is also the second largest producer of fruits, vegetables, tea, farm fish, cotton, sugarcane, wheat and rice, underscoring its central role in global food supply and making 1.5 billion population of India self-sufficient in terms of food security. The food industry in India is also poised for a rapid growth, driven by immense potential for value addition. The food processing industry alone accounts for 32% of the country's total food market and ranks 5th globally in terms of production, consumption, exports and growth potential. Beyond generating employment for millions of farmers, the sector plays a vital role in rural industrialization, supply chain development and food security. However, when we look back to the time of India's independence in 1947, the country was left hungry and malnourished by our colonial rulers. During the colonial era, India faced a regular devastating famines. Most famous was in 1942 and 43, in which millions lost their lives. Since 1947, the major emphasis was on the development of infrastructure for scientific agriculture by establishing fertilizer and pesticide factories, construction of large multi-purpose irrigation pump power projects, organization of community development and national extension programs, and above all, the starting of agricultural universities, beginning with the postgraduate school of the Indian Agricultural Research Institute in 1958, as well as various new agricultural research institutions in various parts of India. But given the population rise after these medical facilities were improved in independent India, the growth in food production was inadequate to meet the consumption needs of the growing population, and food imports became essential. Such food imports, largely under the PL 480 scheme of the United States, touched a peak of 10 million tons of wheat in 1966. In the next phase, from 65 to 85, more emphasis was given on maximizing the benefits of the infrastructure created during phase 1, particularly in the areas of irrigation and technology transfer. Major gaps in the strategies adopted during the phase 1 were filled, as for example, the introduction of semi-dwarf high-yielding varieties of wheat and rice, which could utilize sunlight, water and nutrients more efficiently and yield 2 to 3 times more than the strains included in the previous program. This period is famously called Era of Green Revolution, that reorganized and strengthened the agricultural research, education and extension, and also the creation of institutions for providing farmers assured marketing opportunities and remunerative prices for their produce. Through a strong public procurement and distribution system, it was ensured that cereals are reaching to poorest of the population. A National Bank for Agriculture and rural development to provide essential credit facilities to farming activities was set up. All these steps led to a quantum jump in the productivity and production of crops like wheat and rice. The Green Revolution helped to bring self-confidence in India's agricultural capabilities. The gains were consolidated during the fifth five-year plan period, 80 to 85, when for the first time agricultural growth rate exceeded the general economic growth rate, largely because of the priority accorded to the development of agricultural infrastructure, including irrigation. Also, the growth rate in food production exceeded that of the population growth. It was important for us. During 85 to 90, which was sixth five-year plan, the achievements illustrate the benefits arising from farmer-centric priorities in investment and from the emphasis placed on bridging the gap between scientific know-how and field-level know-how. But in the latter phase, due to various economic and political reasons, the public procurement and distribution system also witnessed collapse under pressure, and the government has to adopt new approaches to address problems related to farmers and agriculture. And with all those new policy interventions, what we have witnessed are significant expansions in agricultural output in the past decade, recording 40% growth and achieving surplus capacity for exports. In financial year 2025, agricultural exports touched an all-time high of $51.86 billion, up from $48.15 billion in financial year 2024. Agriculture and allied activities together contributed 17.8% to India's GDP in 23-24, reaffirming the sector's importance to the national economy. Stronger investment in infrastructure is expected to further boost momentum. For example, over the next 5 years, the central government plans to attract $9 billion in the fisheries sector only under PM Matsya Sampada Yojana. In parallel, the Union Cabinet has approved the Prime Minister Dhan Dhanya Krishi Yojana with an outlay of $2.79 billion from this financial year to enhance farm productivity, irrigation, credit access and post-harvest facilities for 17 million farmers across 100 districts. Agricultural credit is another area of focus. Projections indicate that credit will exceed $368.55 billion during this financial year, supported by National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development as it works to address regional disparities and extend support to tenant farmers. The adoption of food safety and quality assurance frameworks such as Total Quality Management, ISO 9000, ISO 22000, HACCP, Good Manufacturing Practices and Good Hygiene Practices. All these are expected to improve product standards, support exports and increase global competitiveness of Indian agri products. Simultaneously, given the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, this is where India saw a resurgence of millets. After this pandemic, agroecology has also been put forward as a solution, as it has been asserted that local food system can better withstand disruptions in supply chains. This agroecological approach based on reduced reliance on pesticides, enriching biodiversity, revitalizing small farms, creating alternative animal production systems, and enhancing urban agriculture can be seen in many parts of India. Since 2019, natural farming in India is being promoted nationally as the Bharati Prakriti Krishi Paddhati, means Indian Natural Agricultural System program. This program seeks to promote agroecology-based diversified farming system which integrates crops, trees and livestock with functional biodiversity, reducing a reliance on extremely purchased inputs. The system is largely based on on-farm biomass recycling, stressing biomass mulching, use of on-farm cow dung in formulation, and soil aeration. According to a report, roughly 2.5 million farmers across India are already practicing agroecological approaches. Over the next 5 years, an additional 2 million hectares are to be brought under natural farming. India's foreign trade is closely linked with agriculture. Many agricultural products such as tea, coffee, cotton, oil, fruits, vegetables, lentils, cashew nuts, spices, and even rice and wheat are now exported. In the year 2012, India got first position in the rice exports, which was previously held by Thailand. India is now placed among top 10 exporters of agricultural produce and food grains in the world. The sector's evolution is underpinned by strategic policy reforms, institutional support, and a surge in agri-innovation. The next frontier of agricultural innovation is pivotal to realizing India's $1 trillion agricultural vision, driven by smart and inclusive agri-tech paradigm. A future-focused agri-tech would include climate resilience, long-term sustainability, inclusive growth, and regenerative economic models. Dear friends, digital technologies, precision agriculture, and data-driven platforms are increasingly intersecting with traditional systems, enhancing efficiency, resilience, and inclusivity. This transformation is progressing through distinct stages, from a shifting workforce composition, supported by growing mechanization, digital inclusion, and sustainable growth. The cumulative impact of recent shifts has created fertile ground for a more innovative, sustainable, inclusive, and future-ready agriculture sector. Sustainable inputs, including advanced seed technologies and eco-friendly agrochemicals, are emerging as key enablers of climate resilience and productivity, driving a shift towards more adaptive and sustainable farming system. With robust domestic R&D, India's agriculture future is being shaped by genomics, gene editing, and bioenhanced inputs that enhance productivity while building a climate-resilient, sustainable farming ecosystem. Innovations in farm management are setting new benchmarks for precision, enabling data-led decision-making, optimized resource use, and enhanced operational efficiency as India's agriculture operations are being revolutionized by IoT-enabled monitoring, AI-driven advisory, and robotic automation, moving towards a new era of precision, efficiency, and scalability. These may, however, be at experimental stage, but things have come up very well. Digitalization of supply chain and markets with emerging traceability. Innovations is optimizing the agriculture value chain, enabling real-time data capture, e-markets, product authentication, and on the other hand, end-to-end visibility is transforming India's agri-value chain, enhancing product credibility, accelerating transactions, and unlocking premium market access. India's circular economy in agriculture is advanced through government-backed initiatives that emphasize sustainability, resource efficiency, and climate resilience. Currently, for example, India has more than 5 million biogas plants in our zones, collectively generating 0.7 million metric cube of biogas per day, converting crop residues into renewable energy and organic fertilizers. Additionally, India has 22 bio-CNG plants producing almost 85,000 kg per day of compressed biogas and 200 waste plants generating 330 megawatt of electricity. India's agriculture transformation is set on three foundational enablers. First, open digital systems, innovation ecosystem, and capital-enabled scale that are converging to shape the sector's future trajectory. Together, these enablers are bridging the gap between technology development and their sustained commercialization at scale. This synergy is expected to transform India's agriculture sector into its next phase of systematic, scalable, and inclusive growth. Building digital rails for the next technology wave is being redefined by digital public infrastructure, which is called a DPI. This digital backbone gives authorities and startups access to verified high-quality data sets and APIs that were earlier inaccessible, enabling faster, low-cost development of innovations across the value chain. It is estimated that DPI-enabled digital solutions could unlock $65 billion additional value by 2030. Building on the momentum of DPI, India's agri-innovation ecosystem is undergoing a rapid evolution and expansion, reflecting strong depth and demand for innovations valued at over $600 billion. India's agriculture sector is among the world's largest. Commercialization opportunities for agri-tech, further initiatives through National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD, Small Industries Development Bank of India, which is called SIDBI, and Small Farmers Agribusiness Consortium, SFAC, are building a blended finance architecture that uses innovation risk with market readiness. As India's agriculture innovation ecosystem matures, the role of capital is shifting from early experimentation to ecosystem scale growth and consolidation. Investment activity in Indian agri-tech is dominated by in supply chain technology and output market linkage segments, which address fundamental inefficiencies in farm to market value chains. Investments are continuing to flow and expand in India's agri-tech industry, signaling strong market confidence in agricultural innovation. Overall, the strategic investments in infrastructure, continued reforms, and a strong export pipeline, India's agriculture sector is well positioned to sustain growth, diversify output, and strengthen its global footprint in the coming decade. India has repeatedly ensured that we share our best practices with friendly countries. I am happy to note that many agriculture graduates who are government officers are sharpening their understanding and training program with Government of India sponsored short-term scholarship which is known as Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation Program. Honorable Minister, yesterday I was here and we had an interaction with architect alumni in Bulawai. It was for the first time and we had around 30 such architect alumni, which shows that this program is benefiting not only people in Harare but also there is growing interest in rural areas, including other cities such as Bulawai and Mutari. And it will be my pleasure if I can be instrumental in further strengthening our bilateral cooperation in the agriculture sector and institute a formal mechanism of interaction between our two friendly countries. Zimbabwe's agriculture sector, we have seen in the last year and this year also it is improving, and with bumper crop and a record-breaking this harvest of grains, and it is going in a very promising way. I am sure that India and Zimbabwe will have a lot to share with each other for mutual benefit, and we can explore how we can institutionalize interactions between our countries in this agriculture sector. At time, I thank Zimpapers team and AgriSite team for providing this opportunity to present these remarks. I wish you all success in your endeavors. Thank you very much.
It is my honor and privilege at this juncture to introduce to you the guest of honor. Our guest of honor, as he comes to the podium, I want to say a few words about him. This gentleman here is not a policy man, but is a ground.
No. Chief Director, take a seat. Colleagues, take seats. I come from the private sector, and the difference between the private sector and government is the bureaucracy. In government, when they introduce you, they say he was born in this village, raised, and went to this primary school. Eventually, the introductions are longer than the speech. So I will refrain from doing so. The Director of Ceremonies, Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Bulawayo Metropolitan Province, Honorable Judith Nunwe, has represented the Ambassador of India to Zimbabwe, His Excellency Ramakuma, the Zimpapers Sunday News editor and the representative of the Zimpapers Group, Etred Zenenga. I say Zenenga was at Kutsaka. I spent 20 years in Kutsaka. The ICRISAT representative, Dr. Moyo, and our most sincere condolences for the untimely passing on of his dear mother. The Senate representative, Dr. Abdo, farmers, senior government officials, captains of industry, parastatals. I hope that I didn't see, I saw a few farmers from there and Cholocho, most welcome. These are the people that have enabled us to be here, to be able to collectively chart a way forward. So distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to be here, to join you at this second Traditional Grains Conference organized by Zimpapers and also the International Crops Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics, ICRISAT, and also with some input from the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development. And this second conference is being held under the theme, Reimagining Traditional Grains, Empowering Value Chains through Innovation, Mechanization, Policy and Culture. When I saw the word reimagining, I hope that this second conference puts to rest imagining and reimagining that traditional grains are firmly part of the agricultural transformation agenda in Zimbabwe. So we don't have to reimagine. The President, His Excellency Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa, is a vision for the country. And that vision is Vision 2030 of becoming a prosperous and empowered above-middle income society. But Zimbabwe is an agro-based economy. So it is agriculture that must cause the transformation. 62% of our population resides in rural areas. They are daily involved in subsistence agriculture. So it is agriculture done differently that is going to uplift the amount of poverty towards Vision 2030. And that's the space for traditional grains. And we've captured the role and context of traditional grains in Zimbabwe with the agricultural food systems and rural transformation strategy, the first launched by the President in August 2020, and more recently, the agriculture food systems and rural transformation strategy 2026 to 2030, launched on the 29th of October in Utare, Manikale. You will recall, colleagues, that in 2020, the agriculture industry was a $5.8 $5.6 billion. And we aim to transform the sector to become an $8.2 billion industry by 2020. But because of our collective, collaborative efforts, we managed to create a $10.3 billion industry by 2025. And you saw clearly in the budget presentation by the Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion yesterday, that agriculture is projected to grow by 24% in 2025. The second sector after agriculture is information technology at 12.5%. So thanks to you, agriculture is growing in leaps and bounds. But we must also take a moment to reflect on the fact that in the West El Nino year, in 45 years, in the 2024, 2020, 2023, 2024 season, we saw agriculture and cereal production shrink by 72%. So it means that agriculture growth being a negative 18%, and then a swing to 24%. It shows that our fortunes are tied to the quality of the rainfall season. We must uncouple our growth in agriculture from rainfall. After all, plants do not need rainfall to grow, they need moisture. So we must invest in climate-proofing agriculture, and the agriculture food systems and rural transformation strategy is very eloquent about that. Just for re-emphasizing, you know that the ministry's mandate is fivefold. The first, we must assure this nation of perennial food security away from the episodic and weather-determined food security escapades of the past. We must move beyond assurance of food security to food sovereignty. We have seen supply chain disruptions occasioned by pandemics such as COVID, macroeconomic shocks, but also more recently conflicts. So it is an imperative that we now must move to sovereignty, especially for the major value chains. We also, the other mandate is of course nutrition. As we do agriculture, we must have this food systems approach so that we can look at nutrition in a broader concept, and therefore traditional grains become also more important. We also must look at agriculture as a means to uplift people out of poverty towards Vision 2030, livelihoods improvement. We must also look at agriculture-led and caused economic growth, because we're an agro-based economy. Agriculture has these causal effects on manufacturing because of the very strong linkages, but agriculture is also other multifarious linkages with other sectors. So if you get agriculture right, you're likely to get everything else. And something that's perhaps not said often is our role in ensuring that you can get home to your correct address. As we do so, we went through the Surveyor General to give you that stand number in blue money. It is done by this ministry and alliance. But we also are involved in affirmation and reaffirmation of our boundaries, because we are responsible for the maintenance of our boundaries. We enable you to draw the map of Zimbabwe correctly each day. But these strategies under the Food Systems and Rural Transformation Strategy 2026-2030 are anchored on salient aspects that perhaps I would like to share with you. First is this climate proofing concept, that climate change is a constant, it is real, and some value chains, including rain-fed maize, are predicted to reduce productivity of maize. Rain-fed will be lower by 30% by 2050. And this, if you look at the conservative mapping approach. But we also need to move beyond climate proofing, and we say we must climate proof at two levels. We climate proof at household level through the sustainable intensive conservation agriculture model from Zimpapers. Yes, it is a science-based, fact-driven model. It is not stepping backwards into history. It is actually precision agriculture at a micro level. We must also have this climate proofing of agriculture at a national level, when we accelerate dam construction, bring into production the 10,600 dams, so that the cherished 496,000 hectares of irrigation that we want to develop by 2030 are developed. As of yesterday, we've just gone beyond 230,000 hectares under irrigation. And under the Second Republic, we've seen an accelerated attempt to ensure that we climate-proof agriculture. And associated with that, we are expanding storage capacity. We are currently we started at 750,000 metric tons of silo capacity. By 2028, we will have 1.5 million metric tons of silo capacity. We are developing, constructing silos in areas where ordinarily you wouldn't put silos because they're not production areas, Ubani, Kokwe, and so on. But we want to put those silos in those areas so that should there be an unfortunate event of a drought, those areas will have grain already stationed in their areas. But we also need to look at another concept, and this, I think, again, was of traditional grains, the agroecological tailoring of crops and livestock. What is grown by a farmer, what is raised by a farmer, is not determined by what they want. What is raised, what is grown by a farmer, is determined by the exigencies of that agroecological zone. So it must be based on agroecological tailoring. If you are in drier regions, you grow what's suited in those drier regions. If you want tea, go to Chipingi. So that is what we need to emphasize. We also must emphasize this value chain approach. And value chain approach from ideation through to seed production and the fork, so that farmers do not end at just producing. Farmers must go to the next node of the value chain so that there is agro-processing. We must have also, as I indicated earlier, a food systems approach, so that we're not just looking at production, we look at all the associated aspects, including regenerative agriculture. But we must also look at the salient aspects that are to do with the structured market liberalization. A few years ago, the GMB was the sole purchaser of all production and actually a statutory instrument that penalized anyone moving more than 3, 4, 50 kg bags. But fast track to 2022, we liberalized marketing, we also liberalized production, and with it came value chain financing. So all the actors that I've seen, including the beer people, must be involved in supporting farmers. And I recently put out the controversial statutory instrument 87 of 2025, which compels contractors to ensure that at least 40% of their annual raw material requirement is secured through value chain financing. And I've also indicated in that statutory instrument that for select value chains, by 2028, they will have to procure 100% of their annual raw material requirement from what they support farmers in value chain financing arrangements. In the Agriculture, Food Systems and Rural Transformation Strategy 2, there is also another cardinal aspect, and this relates to the ethic at household level. When growing up in a region 4, we used to say we are going to the fields, to we want this notion that that agriculture is becoming a business at every scale, from household through to the estate. So whatever we do, at whatever scale, this business mindset must pervade the corridors of our minds. If you are raising a chicken, you must ensure that the productivity of that chicken is maximum. If you are raising 1,000, that's the same, that's the multiplier. And that we must transform our extension system so that they are able to inculcate this ethos, this philosophy, to ensure that every farmer, every household views and deals with agriculture as a business. It is in this way that we are able to transform rural communities, households, from mere economic spectators to become economic participants. And it is critical that this ministry, charged with transformation of agriculture, undertakes this with due diligence and ensure that we are able, as this group, this phase of transformations, that we are able to rise to that challenge. I also indicate that in the Agriculture, Food Systems and Rural Transformation Strategy 2, which is a document is available, I'm sure the Chief Director and other colleagues will be able to tell you the portal on the website where you can access it. This notion that when we went to school, and perhaps many of us used to have, still have that notion, that there are cash crops and staple foods must be eradicated in all our literature. At any scale, a staple crop is a cash crop because agriculture is becoming business. You produce the business to feed yourself and to sell surplus. So it is a business. So as you're doing out, it is a business producing land. As you do sugar cane, it is a business. There is no cash crop, there is no staple crop. They are all cash crops. The other notion that I wanted to dispel, and hopefully this conference will succeed when we organize the third conference will have eliminated certain literature and jargon that is associated with belittling African crops and developing country crops. So I've heard these terms, that traditional grains are often crops, that they are neglected crops, that they are small grains. When I was editing the strategy, I wanted to put a phrase, but I thought I would offend some. Let me offend you once. Anyone who thinks these are small grains is a small brain. These are traditional grains. They are ecologically suited to these regions, and they are our first choice to attack hunger. They are our first choice for nutrition, for better health. So these are the crops that we must promote. Sorghum, bell millet, finger millet, traditional vegetables, and much more. These must be the choice. As government, we've taken deliberate steps to ensure that we increase the production of traditional grains. For example, in 2020, of the cereals that we produced, only 8% were traditional grains. In 2025, traditional grains will constitute 28% of total production. And we think this balance is key, that for whatever we produce, a third of that, in terms of cereals, should be traditional grains. The recently produced revised agroecological zoning of Zimbabwe indicates that 55% of our country is now in the regions 3, 4, and 5. And that's where most of the people are. So it is important that we produce traditional grains in those areas. We are accelerating the role of traditional grains in context in Zimbabwe, but there are a few challenges, and I know that there are scientists in this room, so I will not bore you with re-highlighting what you already know, which are the subject of the studies and the investigative inquiries that you are undertaking as scientists. But we've seen hybrids of sorghum, pearl millet come on board. We've also seen farmers using their retained seed. Yes, we now need those accessions by farmers in our children so that they become the raw material for new varieties that we are likely to develop. They are already ecologically adapted to our regions. We have also seen, and most that are my age will remember growing up, that behind every door in a round hut, there used to be the grinding mill. Each house had its own grinding mill in the store of his stone that was behind the door. Each house, of course, had a pestle and mortar in order to prepare traditional grains. Many, having escaped what they thought was a burdensome chore of agriculture, quickly took up to nursing, to teaching, to newspapers. I hope that when we, as scientists, and I was pleased to hear from Senate, that they are looking at mechanization. And then this aspect, we need to accelerate appropriate technology so that we can sow. We don't have to transplanting this model. We need mechanization. We need to follow that with herbicides. We need appropriate technology for harvesting. We need appropriate technology for processing. But more importantly, we must go beyond this. We must begin to persuade the youth. 15% of the population out of the 56% that are youthful prefer rice and Irish potatoes as their staple food in Zimbabwe. They are opting out of maize into rice and Irish potato. None of them think and believe that traditional grains are a better option. Young mothers, working women, you have a job to do. This culture of fast foods and purchases must, in my view, be moderated by teaching our children, our youth, the role and importance of traditional grains. Let me take this moment, of course, to reflect on an amazing lady, the First Lady of the Republic of Zimbabwe, our gastronomic and culinary champion, who daily promotes traditional grains, is linked with the chief's wives to do traditional grains, is gone to primary schools to begin to catch them young so that they can understand their culture, and their culture inclusive of their food and culinary culture. And we've seen competitions, we've seen the United Nations coming to Victoria Falls to assist here in this quest to reclaim our culture, which is inclusive of this very rich, diverse, nutritious, and healthy food that we must all aspire to have. So it is in this regard that I must salute the First Lady of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, and I hope that we all too will do so and will take relief from their daily chores and be able to inspire others to see the value in traditional grains. So I've made a few observations. I hope that next year, should you choose not to invite me, which is all right, I will invite myself so that we can take stock of progress that we are making in ensuring that traditional grains become part of our daily food. I hope that as you go to lunch today, you will have a rich and diverse selection of traditional grains, and that your first choice will naturally be traditional grains. With these few observations, it is now my singular honor to declare this, the second Traditional Grains Conference, officially open. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I thought the applause was a bit short. Let's do it again. That's better, that's better. Let me take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister for laying the foundation and giving us some pointers for further discussion. And perhaps without wasting time, I can confirm that the Minister is invited to next year's edition of this conference. Let me also thank His Excellency, the Indian Ambassador, for taking us through the policy direction from India, as well as explaining to us in detail how they are treating the very important subject of traditional grains. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite you to a deserved tea break. We can also use the next 10 minutes to have tea, to interact, and also to visit the exhibitions that are there. I am also reliably informed that we have been graced by the presence of more farmers from Matabele North. We have had a team from Binga that has also joined us, and that brings joy to us as the organizers of this event, being Zimpapers and Egisat. So ladies and gentlemen, our dignitaries are going to be led by the team from the ministry as they go for tea, and we are also going to join. Thank you very much.